The wind howls across a landscape so white it blinds. Snow, driven sideways by gales reaching 160 kilometers per hour, obscures everything beyond a few meters. The temperature has plunged to minus 82 degrees Fahrenheit. In this white void where machines fail and technology becomes useless, an Inuit hunter steps out from his karmak, a traditional snow house, to read the sky. His breath crystallizes instantly in the air. The approaching storm will last 3 days, maybe more. There's no weather app to consult, no emergency alerts to receive. Yet he knows with certainty what's coming. Knowledge passed down through 1,000 generations of Arctic survival. Before we continue, if you enjoy powerful stories of survival, tradition, and raw nature, make sure to click that subscribe button. It's the best way to support our work. Thank you, and let's continue. The hunter's eyes, narrowed against the brutal wind, scan the horizon. To the untrained observer, it's just a white wasteland. But he sees patterns. The angle of blowing snow, the color of distant clouds, the behavior of Arctic hares seeking shelter. These signs speak to him in a language older than writing. He turns back to his shelter, knowing the real work begins now. Inside the karmak, his family has already started preparations. The walls, built from precisely cut snow blocks, curve inward to distribute the wind's force. A small ventilation hole at the top ensures air circulation while preventing snow infiltration. His wife tends to the kullik, a crescent-shaped stone lamp burning seal oil. This single flame will be their only source of heat and light for the next 72 hours. The hunter retrieves his harpoon and hunting gear, checking each item with practiced hands. Outside, the wind's pitch rises, a sound like screaming metal. Time is running out. He must secure enough food now, before the storm's full fury arrives. His teenage son joins him, learning through observation what no textbook could teach. They venture onto the sea ice, navigating by memory and subtle landmarks invisible to outsiders. The hunter carries no GPS, no satellite phone. His navigation tools are the wind's direction, the snow's texture underfoot, and generations of accumulated wisdom. They find a breathing hole in the ice. Seals must surface here for air, even in the worst storms. As they wait, the temperature continues to drop. Ice crystals form on their fur clothing, but the caribou hide parkas, worn fur-side in, trap body heat with remarkable efficiency. The outer layer, made from sealskin, repels moisture. This clothing technology, perfected over millennia, outperforms many modern materials in extreme cold. A seal surfaces. In one fluid motion honed by decades of practice, the hunter strikes. Success means survival. They drag their catch back to the karmak as the first wall of the storm hits. Visibility drops to arm's length. Without their innate sense of direction, they would be lost forever in this white hell. Back inside, the family processes the seal with zero waste. Meat is cut into portions for immediate consumption and storage. Blubber feeds the kullik, providing precious heat and light. Bones become tools and toys. The hide will make clothing or repair existing gear. In this environment, efficiency isn't just practical. It's sacred. As darkness falls, though in the Arctic winter, day and night blend together, the storm intensifies. Wind speeds exceed 130 kilometers per hour. Snow accumulates against the karmak's walls, actually improving insulation. The family settles in for the long wait, but they're far from idle. The grandmother begins to tell stories, oral histories that contain survival information encoded in narrative form. These tales teach children about ice conditions, animal behavior, and weather patterns through engaging characters and dramatic plots. The hunter sharpens his tools, repairs clothing, carves new implements from bone and antler. Outside, the blizzard rages. Snow drifts form dunes that reshape the landscape. Any modern vehicle would be buried within hours. Satellite phones lose signal in these conditions. GPS becomes unreliable near the magnetic pole. But inside the karmak, life continues with a rhythm established over thousands of years. The family shares meals of raw frozen char and seal meat. Cooking would waste precious fuel and create dangerous moisture in the enclosed space. Their diet, rich in fats and proteins, provides the calories needed to maintain body heat in extreme cold. They drink melted snow, carefully rationed from blocks cut before the storm. On the second day, the wind reaches its peak 160 kilometers per hour. The Carmack shudders but holds firm, its aerodynamic shape deflecting the worst gusts. Snow has buried the entrance tunnel, creating an additional buffer against the cold. The family communicates in low voices, conserving energy. The hunter teaches his children to read the storm's progress through subtle changes in sound and vibration. A slight shift in the wind's pitch indicates the eye of the storm approaching. This knowledge allows them to prepare for brief periods of relative calm when essential tasks can be performed outside. During one such lull, the hunter emerges to check their food cache, buried deep in the snow. He moves quickly, knowing the wind could return to full force at any moment. His movements are economical, purposeful, every action calculated to minimize exposure while maximizing efficiency. Inside, his wife maintains the cullic with expert precision. Too much fuel wastes resources. Too little risks the flame dying. She adjusts the moss wick, ensuring optimal burn rate. This lamp technology, unchanged for millennia, provides heat equivalent to a small electric heater while consuming minimal fuel. The children play traditional games that develop skills needed for survival. String figures teach dexterity and pattern recognition. Bone games improve hand-eye coordination. Even entertainment serves a practical purpose in this unforgiving environment. As the third day begins, the storm shows signs of weakening. The hunter notices subtle changes. Snow falls more vertically, wind gusts become less frequent. He prepares for the post-storm hunt, knowing animals will emerge hungry after days of shelter. The grandmother continues her stories, now focusing on tales of previous great storms and how ancestors survived them. These narratives contain detailed information about emergency procedures, alternative food sources, and spiritual practices that maintain psychological resilience during prolonged isolation. When the wind finally dies, the silence feels profound. The family emerges into a transformed landscape. Familiar landmarks have vanished under new snow formations. Yet the hunter immediately orients himself using celestial navigation and wind-sculpted snow patterns called sastrugi. The post-storm world offers both challenges and opportunities. Animals are easier to track in fresh snow. Fish gather in predictable locations under the ice. The hunter sets out with his son, continuing the eternal cycle of teaching and learning that has sustained Inuit culture through countless storms. They return hours later with Arctic char and ptarmigan. The family celebrates quietly, acknowledging their successful navigation through another of nature's ultimate tests. No smartphones documented their ordeal. No rescue teams stood by. They survived as their ancestors did, through knowledge, preparation, and profound respect for the Arctic environment. As night falls again, the cullic burns steadily. The hunter repairs his tools, already preparing for the next storm. His children absorb lessons that no classroom could provide. Outside, the temperature remains deadly. But inside the Carmack, life continues with the steady assurance of a people who have mastered survival in Earth's harshest conditions. This cycle repeats throughout the Arctic winter. Each storm brings new challenges, but the fundamental principles remain constant. Read the signs, prepare thoroughly, waste nothing, share knowledge. In an age of satellites and weather apps, these traditional methods still prove remarkably effective. The hunter's knowledge encompasses far more than mere survival techniques. He understands the spiritual dimension of living in harmony with such an extreme environment. Respect for the land, animals, and weather isn't just cultural tradition. It's a practical necessity for survival. Modern technology often fails in these conditions. Batteries die quickly in extreme cold. Metal becomes brittle. Electronics malfunction. But traditional Inuit technology, evolved over millennia, continues to function flawlessly. The curved knife called an ulu never freezes to the hand. Snow goggles carved from bone prevent snow blindness without fogging. As dawn approaches, though the sun won't rise for weeks during polar night, the family prepares for another day. The hunter checks weather signs again, reading clouds and wind patterns. His wife tends the cullic, adjusting the flame for optimal heat distribution. Children learn by watching, absorbing knowledge through observation rather than instruction. The storm has passed, but vigilance never ends. In the Arctic, the next blizzard could arrive with little warning. The hunter teaches his children to recognize subtle atmospheric changes. A ring around the moon indicating approaching weather, specific cloud formations that precede storms, behavioral changes in animals that signal environmental shifts. Traditional clothing proves its worth again as they venture out. Multiple layers trap air for insulation while allowing moisture to escape. Fur ruffs around hood openings create microclimates that protect the face. Mittens, not gloves, keep fingers together for warmth. Every design element reflects generations of refinement. The family's food preservation techniques showcase remarkable ingenuity. Meat freezes naturally in the extreme cold. Fermentation in sealskin bags creates nutritious preserved foods. Dried fish and meat provide portable nutrition for hunting trips. These methods require no electricity, no refrigeration technology, just deep understanding of natural processes. Navigation without instruments seems impossible to outsiders. Yet the hunter moves confidently across featureless ice fields. He reads snow formations, memorizes subtle landmarks, uses celestial bodies when visible. His mental map encompasses hundreds of square kilometers, updated constantly through observation and experience. The Carmack itself represents sophisticated engineering adapted to extreme conditions. This dome shape sheds wind efficiently. Snow blocks cut at specific angles lock together without mortar. The entrance tunnel slopes downward, trapping warm air inside while cold air sinks out. This design maintains internal temperatures 40 to 50 degrees warmer than outside without any heating beyond the Kullik. Traditional Inuit society structured itself around these environmental realities. Sharing and cooperation weren't just moral values but survival necessities. Knowledge transfer occurred through practical demonstration and storytelling. Social bonds strengthened during long storm periods spent in close quarters. The hunter's tools reflect similar ingenuity. His harpoon features a detachable head connected by line, allowing struck animals to tire themselves while preventing the loss of the entire weapon. Snow knives cut precise blocks for shelter construction. Ice chisels create fishing holes with minimal effort. As another storm approaches, identifiable by high, fast-moving clouds and shifting wind patterns, the cycle begins again. The hunter doesn't panic or rush. His preparations follow a methodical pattern established through countless repetitions. Food is secured, tools are checked, shelter is reinforced. The family's psychological resilience impresses as much as their physical preparations. Long periods of darkness and isolation challenge mental health. Yet traditional practices maintain emotional balance. Storytelling provides entertainment and education. Crafting activities keep hands and minds busy. Social interactions within the family unit remain positive despite close confinement. During the storm's height, when wind speeds again approach 160 kilometers per hour, the Carmack becomes a tiny island of warmth and light in a frozen ocean of darkness. The hunter continues teaching his children through example and occasional explanation. His daughter learns to maintain the Kullik perfectly. His son practices tool maintenance and repair. The grandmother's role proves especially crucial during these periods. Her stories contain not just practical information but cultural values, historical knowledge, and spiritual teachings. She represents the living library of Inuit wisdom, transmitting information orally as her ancestors did for generations. When this storm passes, the landscape has changed again. Snow drifts reach new configurations. Ice pressure creates ridges and leads. The hunter must relearn his territory while maintaining awareness of underlying permanent features. This constant adaptation keeps survival skills sharp. Spring will eventually arrive, bringing different challenges. Melting ice, migrating animals, changing weather patterns. The hunter's knowledge encompasses all seasons, all conditions. He teaches his children to respect the land's rhythms, to take only what's needed, to maintain balance with the environment. Modern Inuit communities increasingly blend traditional knowledge with contemporary technology. Snowmobiles complement dog sleds. GPS units supplement traditional navigation. Weather forecasts inform but don't replace traditional observation. Yet the fundamental skills demonstrated during these blizzards remain relevant and valuable. The hunter represents more than just an individual surviving harsh conditions. He embodies a culture's accumulated wisdom, a living connection to ancestors who developed these techniques through trial and error over millennia. His children will carry this knowledge forward, adapting it to changing conditions while preserving core principles. As the Arctic climate changes, these traditional skills gain new importance. Ice conditions become less predictable. Weather patterns shift. Animals alter their behaviors. The hunter's ability to read subtle environmental cues and adapt accordingly becomes increasingly valuable. The family emerges from another successful storm survival not with pride or boasting, but with quiet satisfaction. They've once again demonstrated that human ingenuity, properly applied, can thrive in conditions that seem impossibly harsh. Their methods work not by fighting nature, but by understanding and working within its parameters. The cullet continues to burn, its soft light illuminating faces that reflect both ancient wisdom and contemporary awareness. Outside, the Arctic wind whispers across the snow, carrying stories of survival, adaptation, and the enduring strength of indigenous knowledge. The hunter listens, interprets, and prepares for whatever comes next.